Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Funday. Sunday, we are underway. No time to play, time to get it done. We get started today. We're going to start with warming up our bodies. And we're going to bring our feet to the center parts of our mat. Feet spread about shoulder width parts. Just getting your toes straight forward today. We're just going to start those slow side to side movement through the hips. Getting to engage, lengthen out some of our side body muscles. We're going to progress this movement with a little bit of arm action. Take your right arm up, reach it up and over and across as your head pushes out to the side, and sweep down to the opposite side. And do this for a few more iterations. Today, as we practice, our ambition is to improve or help do exercises that improve our mobility, make our movements more mechanically correct by addressing some of these issues that face us from doing sedentary things. On the next version of this, let's hold the left side, reach it high to the sky, give that right hand on right hip a little push inwards so we can kind of create a little bit of extra length. And as you do so, I'd like you to make sure you're straightening out through that left leg. And then as we release this, switch it up for the opposite side. Right hand's reaching high to the sky, across the midline of the body. Left hand on the left hip, pushing to the side as we create a little bit of extra length. And as you release that, bring both hands on hips. Let's step your feet out to the edges of the mat. And this time, let's turn our toes into the central line. As we bring absolute positive straightness to the legs, we're kind of like snapping the knees back. We're going to draw the hips backwards so slightly, which in turn is going to give us the opportunity to have a little bit of forward lean. Now, I'd like you to crowd out the chest and pull your elbows together in the back part of your body. Make sure you're tension free through the neck. And while we hold here, I'd like you to make a isometric activation through the heels of the foot, trying to spiral them away from the central line. Holding on this. Now, if you've done that little spiral thing with the heels and the ball of each big toe is risen off the mat, I'd like you to do both simultaneously. Push the ball of the big toe as you simultaneously rotate those heels out from the center line. You're going to hold on this for a couple seconds. If you feel a little burning, good stuff. And that's up and around the hips, of course. Now, hold the arms, sweep the arms forward. Palms open and face the earth. Let's separate the fingers nice and widely. Now draw the hips backwards, try to keep those legs relatively straight as you begin to rotate the thumbs down towards the earth. Hold on this. Make sure the elbows are extended straight. Elevate the arms ever so much higher if you can. And then while you hold in this, let's begin to rotate from side to side. Making sure that the hips aren't translating with movement. They're kind of locked in space because we've got the ball of each big toe and those heels spiraling away as we rotate the upper body. See if you can increase the range that you rotate to. As you quiet those hips, and then come back center, flip the palms to face, sweep the arms to the sky. Let's step your toes straight forward as you take a big breath, fill the lungs, and as you exhale, fold the body, dropping through the hips, and doing that nice long lengthening through the back. Inhale and extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Pull that back in extension. Straighten out those legs. Take the ball of each big toe, push it into the mat, and then drift your hips backwards. Walk your hands forward. Predominantly weighting to our heels. I'd like you to hold that as you bend both knees. See if that allows you to walk the hands forward just a little bit more. As you exhale, this time let the body flex down and bring hand to opposite elbow. Take the bend back out of the knees as you push the hips high to the sky. Enjoy a couple breaths. Let's check in with our feet. If you're heavily weighted into the toes, I'd like you to drift back to balance the weight front to back of foot.
Hold on this for a couple breaths. And when you're ready, let the fingertips return back right in front of the toes. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep the back in extension as you straighten both legs. Keep the ball of the big toe of each foot pushing into the mat as you drift the hips backwards. Now, hold for a deep breath. Powerful exhale, roll back down. Pilates style, let's come up, stacking vertebrae upon vertebrae. All the way back to standing, sweep your arms to the sky, big salute to the sun. Good morning, sun, good morning, everybody. As you reach high to the sky, fill up those lungs. As you exhale, bring hands back over hearts and step both feet together. Togetherness, it's a wonderful thing, I know. I'm feeling it, are you feeling it? Good stuff. Now, with our feet together, we're gonna basically turn our toes out so the heels have a little touch point. And we're gonna bring straightness back to the legs. Try to like push the heels into the earth and try to grow the spine nice and long as we begin to push with the palms together. Big breath in, and as you exhale, push the hands together as you push them forward. Let's take the elbows and rotate them down towards the earth. Keeping that palm to palm pressure as best you can. Draw that butt back, but try not to let spinal flexion be incorporated into this movement. We want a lot of pressure, palm to palm, and length through the spinal column. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, let the arms separate, let the palms separate. Hands separate, keeping those legs relatively straight, grip the hips back, reach forward with the arms. As you do, we're kind of chopping through the hips. All the other joints remain relatively unchanged. Lots of tension through that low back. Hopefully you're feeling that. I'm gonna hold on that for 1, 2 more breaths. And we're gonna stand tall, salute the sun, step the feet, hip width, actually mat width apart. Blow up that air and fold it all the way down. Take it down onto the mat as you step your feet back into plank. Take a little gander down at those feet of yours and make sure they're about hip width apart. And make sure your hands are a little wider than shoulder width apart. Separate the fingers, make them nice and wide upon your mat. Now, take your knees, straighten them, drive the heels towards the earth without drifting the body backwards. Hold on that as you let your torso descend in between the arms. And then keep all that lower body engagement as we push back up the torso through the arms. And then up and down we go a couple more times. Hard to imagine this is a warm up because it feels like work, but we are just warming up still. All right, and the descent back down. Let's bring those knees of yours to the earth and bring them a little wider than hip width apart. So the very wide base with the hands and with the knees and feet. Let's begin to let the head lower down. And imagine we had a string tied to the center part of the spine, pulling that high to the sky. Let's tuck that pubis in and under. It's like you're rotating that pelvic girdle from the base up and in towards your belly. Just hold on that for a couple breaths. And as you release it, let the spine go back to its extended state. Tailbone, back of head, flipping to the sky. Now, while we hold on this extended spine, I'd like you to pull or hollow out the belly. Like you try to pull it up and in towards the spinal column. And that hollowing, that engagement of the muscle, like you hold that and amplify that as we reverse this movement, using that musculature to contract the belly. Excuse me. That imaginary string pulling high to the sky. The center part of the spine. And coming back to a neutral spine, lowering down onto our forearms. So between our knees and our forearms, we have our body weight distributed. You might notice that your butt is relatively higher than your knees because we pull the hips back so that the legs run perpendicular to the mat. So we don't have anything but a 90 and 90-degree angle. 90 degrees ankle, 90 degrees knee, and 90 degrees through the hip. With our forearms now, I like to make sure the forearm and the elbow in particular is more so directly underneath the shoulder. And while we hold on this, I'm gonna ask you to do a little bit of pelvic tucking so that you can rotate the pubis in and up, inwardly and up, and then take the tailbone, rotate it backwards and upwards. And then basically move between the 2 points for a few repetitions. Breathing is as follows. Exhaling as the tailbone flips. Inhale as you tuck in. And do that a couple more times. And then make the spine nice and neutral. Come up onto the palms and then walk your hands forward. So this is like a modified child's pose. Separate your hands a little wider than your shoulders and keep the spine long and the neck long as we take our chest and let it fall down towards the earth. Walking the hands forward ever so slightly, holding on this nice stretch, lats, chest muscles, lengthening out. As we walk back the hands onto all fours, keep the hands separated to the width of the mat. And then we're going to basically move our torso up and down between the arms. So spiral the elbows inwardly and then push high and then lower down. And do that for a few more repetitions. Slowly up, slowly down. Let the shoulders not kind of pull into each other. Let the torso be the movement up and down, and the shoulder blades are actually pulling away from the spinal column as we move up and down. Try to imagine those things and try to make them a reality in your movement. And then hold up, float the knees, pull the hips up and back to down dog, drive the heels towards the earth. Walk the hands back towards the feet. And weight bear onto both feet. Find that balance front to back. That's simply shifting hips forward and back so your weight feels equal. Front to back of both feet. As you exhale, let the spine flex, hold down. As you inhale, extend. As you exhale, fold. As you inhale, extend, hold, walk the hands forward. Draw back the hips. Keep those knees nice and straight. And please, 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 remember, ball of each big toe, pushing hard to the mat, legs straightening. You feel a nice tension through the back, through the hammies. That's a stretch that's going on back there. Enjoy it for a couple breaths. As you release the breath, let the upper body fall, bring hands to opposite elbow. In this position, this is a good opportunity to work on straightening the legs. So pushing hard through the heels, maintaining that internal push of the ball of each big toe, but more importantly, letting the legs find as much length, as much straightness for the knees as you can muster. And then let's step our palms onto the shins, push the palms to the shins and bring them back to a tabletop extended position. Now, if your shoulders are doing funky things, I like you to imagine you're pulling them off the spinal column, out and away from it, of course, as you grow the neck long, proud out the chest, keep that chest nice and proud as you continue to push the palms to the shins. I'd like you to now bend the knees and let the hips lower, keep the spinal column long and straight, or raising or lowering, depending on your perspective, so that the hips are lower, closer to the mat than your shoulders. Proud out the chest, make it nice and proud as you let the arms finally sweep forward, rotating the palms to face each other. We're in a deep squat-like position. As you inhale, raise the arms. And as you exhale, lower them, let them sweep down and backwards. And then continue this movement with the arms. Try not to bend through the elbows as the arms articulate up and back and down. Rotating the palms internally as we come forward, externally as we come back. Couple more repetitions. As you sweep forward this time, sweep all the way up to the sun. Greet it, say good morning, sunshine. Powerful, exhale, fold all the way down, come down onto the mat. Oh my goodness, mat time already. I want you to meet my friend, Matt. And grab some water. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, it's party time. Just kidding, of course. That's some stuff, but it's all gone, all good. TMI, right? All right, so on our mats here, we're gonna bring our heels to the edges or the corners of our mat. I have my butt position where the angle is slightly greater than 90 degrees in both knees. If you're not a mathematician, they don't have to be straight and they don't have to be closed in. I'm gonna bring the hands onto the kneecaps. And I'm gonna let my spinal column go into flexion. So I'm gonna be inwardly rotated. This is feeling good, almost too good. Now, we're gonna take the feet and we're gonna flex them. And then you're gonna feel your little shin muscles start to be more active. We're gonna keep that as we push the chest forward and elongate the spine. Like you're gonna initiate a little bit of pull of the arms backwards. As we grow the spine, grow the neck. Take a big breath in, as you exhale, crowd out that chest. Holding on this for a second or two. Amplifying the work. We're gonna take the hands off the kneecaps and reach them forward. And I'm gonna raise the arms up, holding up. Crowd through the chest. Hold for a couple breaths. And then Pilates style, imprint from the hips, low back, middle back, each vertebrae, best you can, all the way down. Keep the little bend in the knees, legs have that little bend still remaining as you reach all the way backwards with the hands. Your thumbs are your touch point. Pull fingers backwards, farther if you can. And then when you're ready, bring those hands back up over the chest. You're gonna hold on this for a second as we set our shoulders. I'd like you to pull back the shoulders so you can feel the flat blade of the shoulder backwards. Back on the mat. I'm gonna hold on this for a couple of seconds. It's relatively easy and this feels good right now. Now, we're gonna bring the hands together and we're going to interlock the fingers. We're gonna take our elbows and spiral them in towards the center line. And then we're gonna take our hands and arms and rotate them, coming up and onto the right shoulder. So the left shoulder is lifted off the mat. Now, the orientation, if I look at the center part of my chest, and where my hands are, they're in the same line. And I'm gonna ask you if your left hip is rolled up off the mat, that you roll it back down and maybe modify where you are. There we are now. That engagement you feel, those transverse muscles are now working. So let's hold that as we come back center. Keep the hips flat and roll up and onto the left side. Again, if that right hip, that right butt cheek is lifted off the mat, I'd like you to rotate it down and keep those arms center line of the body as you roll back and we switch from side to side. Try to keep the arms nice and straight, rolling up onto the shoulders. Try not to force it up, try to engage the muscle, let momentum, not to be the assistant here. We want the muscles to be more actively working as we create that lift of the shoulder. Hips remain on the mat all the way through the whole movement. And come back center, release the hands, pull the knees up and into the chest. And bring your forehead up to meet the knees and rock and roll front to back. Come back up to your seated position. Legs extended. We're going to open them up so they angle out. And we're going to take our
Left hand inside the legs, right hand on the outside of that right leg. And we're gonna go walk it with the hands. We walk it out with spine long to start. Get that nice pull to the back of the leg. We're gonna hold on that for a little bit. And then we're gonna add a little bit of back extension as we begin to let the chest fold down and let the spine flex, relaxing down onto that right leg. Walking it back up. Starting off on the other side. Same stretch and exercise as we walk forward, spine is long. Hold for a couple breaths. You might notice disparity between one side and the other, which is why we do both sides, is to kind of make them equal. Equality, good stuff. Let the spine now flex as you fold it down. As you inhale, extend. And as we come back up to seated, we're going to take our left leg, and we're going to basically put a 90-degree bend in it as we scooch our butt over to the sides of the mat and get that 90-degree angle. We're going to keep the right leg working at about a 45-degree angle or angling off the mat. And as we bring our hands back forward, we're going to walk down onto this leg, affecting that nice little stretch. Now, two areas you're gonna feel it, one more so on the right side, that's a big stretch for that hammy. You enjoy that, you can enjoy it more by making sure your right hip doesn't elevate off. Try to keep that right sit bone on the mat. We are also, of course, stretching out that left gluteal. It's lengthening out for us to do that. Let's walk it back up and switch up sides. Once again, as we lower into this stretch, try to keep the spinal column long and also that left butt cheek connected to the mat. We're folding onto that front leg, enjoying that nice stretch. Oh, feels so good. As you inhale, let's walk it back up. And now we're going to sweep the legs all the way backwards. Beautiful stuff there. And we're going to flip it down so we align face down on the mat. Up. I'd like you to bring your hands, interlock with fingers underneath the chin. Our head, of course, is elevated to allow us to do so. I'd like you to kind of imagine if you've ever had your leg pulled. Well, this is kind of the same thing with your head. Imagine someone's pulling the head nice and long. Now, with the hands in the position we have a lot of inward rotation of the shoulders. I'd like you to try to keep the head elevated. And if you, excuse me, if your weight's bearing into your forearms, I'm going to ask you to start to reduce the amount of weight that is in the forearms. So that's really engaging more of the spinal muscles and the muscles of the back. And I'm asking you to do so because we're eventually going to pull the forearms up off the floor, if you can. Holding on that. Imagine you're pulling with the shoulders, lifting them high to the sky. Forearms are up. Try to rotate the elbows to the sky. Hold on this for a couple breaths. And as you lower back down, relax. You can go to any spot where you need to be. Myself, I'm going to keep my fingers interlocked as I gently let my head get a little bit of rest on the tops of my hands. And on the next breath, we're going to re-engage. Taking the back of the head, lifting it to the sky. We still have this inward rotation with the shoulders going on. We're going to lessen the weight into the forearms as we begin to do so. I'd like you to pull
those forearms when you're ready, up off the floor. We're levitating. Palms of our hands are facing down. I'm gonna pull the elbows higher to the sky. You can tell this is a lot of work for me. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I did. And lower back down and relax. We're gonna do this one more time. I can tell Kirsten's having a lot of fun. But a huge smile on her face. All right, now, one more time, coming back into position. Neck long. Forearm dependency being reduced. Forearms lift up off the earth. Elbows pull high to the sky. Giving as much effort as you can. Keep that belly active. Imagine I'm gonna punch you in the tummy. Fire up those muscles. Oh, and then lower down. Bring your hands right underneath the shoulders this time. Keep the head floating, because we're gonna basically push up onto the knees and pull all the way back to child's pose. Let the arms walk forward, with the hips pull back. And take a couple breaths to enjoy some lengthening of those muscles we just worked. I'm gonna start stepping my hands back underneath my shoulders and bringing my knees, my feet, and my hands to the same width on the edge of the mat. When we're all there, we're gonna basically let the head drop. We're gonna take the center part of the spine and begin to pull that towards the sky. And as we do, I like you to push the hips forward, tucking pelvically. That's that rotation where the pubis rotates inwardly and upwardly towards the belly button. Big flexion through the spine. We're just gonna stretching out those muscles that we just exercised. Enjoy the feeling. Take a deep breath in as you exhale, let the arms remain straight as your chest drops in between them. Take the back of the head and the tailbone and bring them to a more skyward orientation. And then come back to a neutral spine, float the knees, pull the hips up and back to down dog. Drive the heels to the earth, towards the earth, whatever is best for your, whatever the best descriptors are for your body's abilities. As you keep the heels driving towards the earth, walk the hands back towards the feet. And you have balanced the weight in the feet, inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep that back in extension as you bend both knees. Walk that, let's step the feet out wider than the width of the mat. And as you keep the hips low, like you walk the hands back towards the feet, keeping the position posted inside. So we're like in a deep, deep squat. Now, what we're gonna do is assist with the arms or hands, some of the body weight, as I ask you to lower down the hips to enjoy what's really a very effective stretch for both of them simultaneously. It may feel a little painful, and that's just muscles talking, hopefully. And enjoy that for a couple seconds. How do you enjoy pain? I don't know, you have to make it up yourself. All right, now push your hips back to the sky, keep the hands in place. Kind of snap both knees back, spinal extension, neck extension, work it. Take the ball of each big toe, push it into the mats, and begin to bring the hips back down towards the earth. Keep the ball of the big toe pushing to the mat as you bring spine to extension and hips closer to your earth. And then push back high to the sky. Extend the spine as you inhale. Snap those knees back. As you release your breath, begin the descent again. Spine and extension, his hips lower. Oh. See if you can take it a little deeper. And then push back up. Step your feet back forward. Walk your hands forward to enjoy a nice flat stretch as you straighten through the legs. Then your hands are walking forward, your spine's extending. You're enjoying a nice length through the whole body as you inhale. And as you exhale, fold back down, bring hand to opposite elbow. And hang out for a couple breaths. As you inhale, this time bring your palms back to your shins. Push the palms to into the shins as you tabletop the back. Now, while we're tabletopping, I'd like you to take your chest and make it proud and pull your shoulders, the back of the shoulders, like you pull them to the sky. And remain tension free through your neck. So we have proud chest, shoulders pulling the sky, spine long, neck long, palms pushing to shin. Enjoying this? Good stuff. Now straighten out the legs, push the ball of each big toe to the mat. Drift back to give you a more pronounced weighting to your heels. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, let the arms sweep forward and unhinge, come all the way back up to standing. Beautiful. Nice. As we hold on this, reach high to the sky. Imagine there's $1 million bill just above the reach and give you a little bit of extra effort. As you release the lungs, let the arms fall. Good stuff. Now let's take it back on. Sorry, I was off the mat. I'm gonna walk back onto my mat. And then I'm gonna come center parts of the mat. We're gonna keep the feet aiming forward. Now, as we hold on this spot isometrically, I'd like you to activate, try to create this outward spiral of the heels. As we push the heels out and away from the center line, I'd like you to take the ball of each big toe, push it into the mat. Let's bring hands over heart. As we hold on this, I'm gonna ask you to bring as much straightness to the legs without compromising any of our foot setup. We're gonna take the hips and push forward a little bit while we don't compromise anything of our foot setup. With hands over heart now, I'd like you to push the palms together. We're gonna basically rotate the fingers in as we elevate the elbows nice and tall, nice and high. We're elevating them off the earth. We're elevating them higher than shoulder height if we can. We're gonna crowd out the chest without compromising our feet position. Big inhale, spinal extension. Powerful exhale, shoot the hands to the sky, fold it all the way forward, and come back down onto your mats. Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna grab some more water.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you want some? Can, it's all mine. All right, you can kind of see a little bit of repetition with hips and shoulders today, right? This iteration now, we're going to have our hip over, left hip scooting to the side of the mat with a 90-degree bend, and this time we're going to take our right leg and we're going to drift it backwards. So we're going to do that 90-90 setup. So right now I'm posting into my left arm. I like to take my shoulder and rotate it backward, crowding at that left side, growing the spinal column, and I like to try to sit that right hip. It may have popped up. Mine is too, but I like to try to push it down towards the mat itself. Cushioning, of course, any joints that feel uncomfortable, towels, socks, whatever you feel that are available, keeping that nice and real. As we hold on this, I like to take the right hand and reach it up to the sky. So we have that nice length. Now, I'm gonna scooch my left hand around so that the fingers aim backwards, which is gonna create an exterior rotation to that left shoulder. As I reach high to the sky, I like the fingers separated widely on the right hand and then bring it across the midline of the body. Now, holding on this for 1, 2, 3 seconds, and we're gonna release it back down. And then we're gonna bring our hands out in front and begin to block all the way out as we let the upper body fold down over that left leg of ours. And just relax, you can hang out, go full relaxation mode. Just gonna be a couple breaths here. And as we walk back up, we can just do a straight switch over where we roll through the hips and set it up on the opposite side. Again, coasting, we're gonna get started with the hands all the way back, fingers creating that external rotation, the shoulders. And now that left hand of ours, opening to the sky, reaching high. And then coming across the midline of the body. We're gonna hold on this for a couple breaths. Now that left hip this time is what we're gonna try to rotate down towards the earth. As we create length for that left side. You might find you sacrifice one to get the other, but try to get me both simultaneously, best you can. And then as we lower that back down, we're gonna bring the hands out in front. Let them do the walking as we come all the way down onto that front leg. Full relaxation mode. And now as we walk back up, we're gonna switch it back. Opposite side, and we're gonna do a few rotations of this. So, all the way forward, touch, come all the way across, switching up opposite side, sweeping that left arm out and touching, so we're reaching out and away, it's about a 45-degree angle. And we're gonna make a number of rotations here, side to side, reaching all the way out. And right now, we're just really exercising these small muscles out and inside of the hips, allowing them to get a little bit of blood flow and develop a little strength from our action right now, very important for hip stability. It's always good to know every once in a while what the exercises are supposed to do for you, right? All right, coming all the way back, we have one more repetition, I believe. And when we get there, we're gonna bring both legs back to the front part of the mats by just sweeping them all the way around. There we go. I'm back. Did you miss me? All right. Now, we're gonna bring both, excuse me, both heels out towards the corner of the mat. Turn off the AC so it wouldn't be so noisy. No, it's just hot. All right, so we have the heels pushing towards towards the corner of the mat. The heels are pushing, and we have our feet flexed. We're gonna reach down and wrap over the top of the toes. And keep that nice spinal extension as we enjoy stretch. Now, as we work this, how to work it is also key for adding a little more length to muscles that often become shortened, which are hammies, of course. So I like to take the back of the knees and try to push them into the mat. And to do so, I like to take a little bit of extra effort by taking palms and pulling back on the toes as you use the leverage here to kind of create length through the spinal column. Let those heels drive forward and make that effort to keep the knees pushing down towards the mat. And then let's release this and Pilates style, take it down to the mat. Oh. Now take your right leg and lift it up and into the air. And you're gonna have your hands framing that foot. And we're gonna peel up from the back of the head through the neck, all the way up into the lower or middle spine, and try to reach up and touch your toes. And then slowly lower back down. And then do it again. And do this for a few more repetitions. Try not to reach forward with your shoulders so much. Try to make this more of a spinal flexion exercise, which is really working those frontal core muscles, engaging a lot more than just the tummy muscles. This is getting up and into your rib cage. As you're reaching high, you may notice that your ability to get high as the previous repetition is diminishing. And that's simply because those muscles are fatiguing. All right, now lower down, right leg lowers down.
left leg lifts up. And we start the exercise on this side. Peeling up, lowering down. You might fatigue a little faster on this rep. On these reps, that's fine. We're gonna continue to do the exercise all the way up until failure, or where it's just like, oh, can't do this anymore. But I think I can do one more. All right, in the next rep, we're gonna lower it down. Stepping our feet now into the bottoms, sorry, into our buttocks. And I'm gonna separate a little wider than hip width, and I'm gonna take my toes, and I'm gonna turn them in towards the center line. And allow my thighs to make a touch together if it's possible. And while we do that, we're gonna begin some pelvic rocking. Rocking forward up and onto the tailbone. Rocking backwards so you can feel that low back skin connected. And do that slowly forward and backwards. Few repetitions. Again, this is kind of working our pelvic base and some of our middle hip muscles. And also a muscle called the piriformis, which often gets aggravated when we sit. So this is like a little rotational feel it. And you might notice at some point here, the rotation forward or back, you feel like a little muscle. That's kind of like your signaling there that the muscle is actually getting a little bit of blood flow and nervous signal. In other words, it's beneficial if you're feeling that. All right, let's calm it. Low back skin goes flat onto the mat. I'm turning my feet so the toes aim straight forward. And then I'm gonna bring my hands up over the chest. And because we work these muscles, this may be a little more challenging than it normally would be. We're gonna let the arms lower down in Pilates style, peel up. Oh, there goes my feet. Guess who's gonna hold the muscle straight? It's Kirsten. All right, as we dive down, we're gonna hold down, enjoy. And then we're gonna rock it back slowly. Slowly, and reach it all the way back, this time extending the legs all the way out. You'll let those front chains of muscle find some nice lengthening as we stretch out, toes point, fingers pull, opposite direction. And then Pilates style, bring it back up again. Flex your feet. This time we're going to dive it down and extend all the way out for a nice low back stretch. Just walk the hands back in as we come back into a seated position. Let the arms fall down beside you, and then let's take your palms, open them to the earth, step them backwards so your hands have a nice flat position on the mat. As we proud of the chest, I'd like you to grow the spinal column. Now we are practicing pelvic tilting, so I'd like you to kind of use that experience here to help the pelvic roll forward. It's almost like flipping your tailbone back to the point where you feel like some solid tissue, your ischium, your sit bones connected to the mat. Keep the chest nice and proud. Take your left ear, drop it to the left shoulder. Slowly bring it back center and do the right side. When you come back center this time, rotate the head so that the left shoulder is the target for your chin, and let the chin drop down. Come back up and slowly rotate to the opposite side. Come back center. Let's bring our hands forward. We're gonna walk it back out again. Enjoy a nice stretch once again. Let's walk back the hands to our seated position. And let's bring hands over hearts so I can say thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoy class. Namaste.
Nice. Good job.
Well done.